To say that I greatly enjoyed Triangle Strategy might be a bit of a gross understatement. Everything from the gameplay to the storyline to the voice acting have helped me effortlessly fall back in love with the strategy RPG genre that I've been away from for close to a decade. Not to mention, it's essentially completely revolutionized his current channel as well. Thanks by the way guys, you are simply the best. That being said, what could make Triangle Strategy even better? The almighty DLC, of course. While at times DLC can be a very contentious topic when it comes to games, I think when done well, it certainly adds a lot of additional value to the playing audience, as well as ensure longevity with quality of life updates and the introduction of innovative and addictive new game modes, as we've seen with many other titles in the past to very great effect. Now when it comes to DLC, it typically seems to fall into a scale as to what's most cost effective to produce and what will provide the greatest ROI for the company. Keep that in mind as that'll be central to some of the ideas being presented here. As always, if you dig Triangle Strategy and RPG content, make sure you subscribe for future content and feel free to drop a comment letting me know what you have on your Triangle Strategy DLC wishlist. Okay, so let's start this thing off with one of the more fundamental elements when it comes to DLC, quality of life measure, things that are going to make the overall playing experience better for old and new players alike. This typically shouldn't fall into the bucket of paid content, but if they wrapped all this up into one huge patch or update, I wouldn't even be mad at that. Now unfortunately, it's well known that Triangle Strategy definitely can have a touch of performance issues on bigger stages with numerous units, or if the game is attempting to pull some of the more graphically intensive animations. Weapon skills in particular are one that are pretty notorious for slowdowns. So to start with, providing a locked or stable frame rate would definitely be much appreciated in the long term by the entirety of the fanbase. I'm not sure if this just comes down to poor optimization, as I do find it hard to believe that the Switch is being pushed past its absolute limit by a 2D sprite-based game when things like this seem to work on the same console. Outside of FPS concerns, one major addition that Square could bring to the table and greatly enhance the overall playing experience would be chapter select, something very much akin to what we've seen in past titles like Final Fantasy VII Remake. And guess what? Those were actually made by the same company. So what I'm asking for is somebody to get up out of their desk, stroll over to the Final Fantasy department, and ask them how to easily implement this into Triangle Strategy. This addition would help immensely when it comes to replayability of the title, as well as match and enemy breakdowns, not to mention the ability to easily choose between each of the different routes at will. Make it happen, SC. Okay, and coming in at number 4, we got the addition of DLC characters. Now this was something that was overwhelmingly requested when I asked over on Reddit as well as a Facebook group, with pretty much everyone championing for the addition of fan favorites like Jerome, Rufus, X-Harm, and of course, the one and only Dragon. And we all know how I feel about this character. Writing in this voice performance is stellar. I think I want to play the game just for Dragon. Oh shit, are they gonna kill this dude? No way. Don't tell me this guy dies like the whole reason about the game.
No. Wait.
He's actually part of the whole reason I even bought this damn game to begin with. Now, as for adding these characters into the existing game, I could definitely see how they could be added in more of a blanket addition to the game without disrupting the flow of the natural story progression. They've already done quite a stellar job with that, with the enemies turn friends like Trish, Travis, and Flora, so I think that these can easily be incorporated throughout your playthrough. Now, I know I can't be alone in thinking that some of these enemies that we fight have some really sick skills that I'd like to be able to use. Now, right out of the gate, I know that adding full-blown skills to characters would take a lot of work, both animation-wise and on the balancing side of the house, so that in itself is pretty unlikely. So I'd say we split the difference and just give us some of those characters that already have said skills. There was also a pretty large majority of people requesting characters from Octopath Traveler, as both games run on essentially the same engine. This would be a pretty sick addition. So in order of priority, if we're going to do DLC characters, let them happen in this order. Number 1, Dragon. I mean, what really needs to be said about this? This man just has the juice, plain and simple. Moving on, Jerome. Now we already have a pretty kick-ass, probably the most kick-ass Dragoon type Lancer in this game with Sir Maxwell. I honestly think it would be cool to just have another playable Roselle. They're so integral to the overall plot that I think it would be cool to just have 2 of them on the field. Moving on, we have Rufus. Now the thing with Rufus is I definitely would like him as DLC, but you really have to find a way to differentiate him, his toolset, from Travis. On the exterior, they're just kind of big burly men holding a mallet, you know what I mean? You really have to find a way to make his toolkit kind of shine. And then we have X-Harm. Now, X-Harm, I would definitely tweak him a bit because I would want him to kind of play more akin to like a Fire Emblem type cavalry, which I don't think they'll do that in the game. That's probably broken in this game. We have Roland, but just a kind of a different cavalry that plays completely different. Maybe one that's a bit more tankier. I would definitely love that. And then, last off, the Octopath Traveler pack. If they could find a way to do that, just make it happen. Coming in at number 3 is an addition that I think will single-handedly keep both this game and its community alive, well until the inevitable drop of Triangle Strategy 2, and that's the addition of one or both of the following: a stage editor and PvP. Let's talk about the stage editing first. This is something that's been kind of a hidden gem when it comes to strategy games, and it always strikes me as very odd that this is never implemented in the majority of very popular strategy games. It's just kind of a no-brainer. Give the players the ability to create arenas utilizing the base template, including environments, obstacles, enemy types, and then give them the ability to upload and have other players play in said arena. TLDR, essentially Mario Maker for Triangle Strategy. This is probably one of the easiest additions they could actually put in a game, as you're essentially just giving players access to the same developer tools that they already use. And while yes, some of the mock battles are cool, they do definitely get stale in time. The application of such an update like this would definitely be a permanent shot of life for this game, and would allow for creativity to flourish from within the community itself without the need for any additional external commitment from Square. Moving on, we have PvP. Now, while this is normally an option that would spring to the top of most players' DLC wishlist, I have to proceed with a huge asterisk. PvP, but done correctly and properly balanced. The characters as they stand and exist right now aren't necessarily designed around finding some of the other skills and tool sets that exist amongst the current playable roster. If they can find a way to come at this with a very streamlined approach, I'm all for it, and honestly, I fear if this update was ever truly rolled out, I would actually never put my Switch down again. And then moving on, we have Super Dungeons coming in at number 2. Now, there were people actually asking for a difficulty increase in this game, and for the people asking that, you guys might just be gone off that bottle of whiskey. I think New Game Plus is already plenty challenging enough, and I kind of greatly dislike how the damage scaling is handled. The enemy doing more damage while we start to hit like we have foam weapons really isn't my type of vibe when it comes to strategy games. You see, I think it's possible to have a mixture of both without diluting the already stellar combat system. I think this can be done with the introduction of more challenging dungeons with different objectives that challenge the player to think intuitively and critically to complete each map. Said dungeon could also have unique acquirable items throughout it, as well as a completion bonus, whether it be an item or accessory, or hell, if you're feeling spicy, maybe a whole damn character. Think along the lines from Midlight Steve from Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. Make it an increasingly difficult continuous dungeon with no option to retreat that will serve as a de facto "I'm a Triangle Strategy God" badge of honor. Now, coming in at number 1 was the thing I didn't know I really wanted until I heard it: a prequel chapter or a set of chapters set within the Salt Iron War. This event is referenced repeatedly throughout the playthrough and paint a very elaborate picture of heroes, champions, and the underlying plot elements that we see come to surface throughout the story of Triangle Strategy. Like, wouldn't it be absolutely kick-ass to see Lord Simon in his glory days before his ticker went on the fritz, or seeing young Benedict and Eredor in their prime? It reminds me a bit of Game of Thrones when they're always referencing Robert's Rebellion and how much of a badass he was back in the day, but when we meet him, he's just, well, this.
Oh. An inspiring sight for the people, eh? Come, bow before your king. Bow, you shits!
The exact same idea goes here. They could even show us a POV of certain critical elements like Frederica's mother or Leia and her liberation of the Roselle from Hyzant. There are really so many elements they can draw from, but more importantly, make sure you show my boy Archie as he was in his prime and how in the world he survived this battle. And that'll do it for today's video, guys. We'll have more Triangle Strategy content dropping later on this week, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe, let me know what videos you'd like to see next. Till next time, LC signing out. Peace.